Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh wow, Overcomers with Our Word. Guys, today I want to do another video, and the topic of this one, and hopefully I can be very brief on it because I'm working on a separate video that kind of details how we can actually be groomed to become a target or a magnet for narcissists. But the subject of this video today is how narcissists actually get their hooks in you. And let me preface this video by saying this is not intended to finger point or shame or blame the target for being a target, but rather a means by which, one can look into themselves to see what happened, what probably drew these predators to you, and how we can become better at identifying narcissists and erect some boundaries to safeguard against their toxicity and abuse. So this is all about trying to, be aware, be focused, and empower ourselves. Change has to start with us. We can't change them. We can't change anyone. You see, that's what they seek to do, is change and control others' behavior. We can only be responsible for ourselves, change ourselves, and how we deal with them and just people in general. So what makes you the prey they're out hunting? And, more importantly, do you even realize you're being hunted? There are different spirits, energies, demons, whatever term you put to this, that we encounter. And under this umbrella of narcissism, there are also two additional personality types that I'd like to briefly talk about, which is sociopaths and psychopaths. All sociopaths and psychopaths are narcissists. However, not all narcissists are sociopaths or psychopaths. Now, that's a different topic for another video because it's a lot to go into, but for sake of brevity, I will say what distinguishes one from the other is between these two personality types, the sociopaths and the psychopath. One is created, and when I said created, it learns these evils as a means of survival, that this is what they feel they have to do to survive. And the other personality type, I believe, is born, and they are highly intelligent, and are dangerous to the point where they actually commit murders. Narcissists, however, they are intelligent, but I will have to say they're not using their own intelligence. And again, once I go into the dynamic of these three personality types, I will explain that in detail, but I don't believe narcissists are using their own intelligence. They are always on the lookout for certain types of people who can be very useful to further their goals, their agendas, and their purpose in life. They are always, the narcissists are looking for supply, people who possess what they want and don't have, and after using you to their advantage, they then seek to destroy you emotionally, financially, spiritually, sexually, physically, and in a lot of cases, depending on the entity, the energy you're dealing with, some even literally commit murder. I want to share with you a story I experienced of how I really started realizing I needed to focus on my surroundings and pay attention to what was going on around me. This happened many years ago, so I won't give any names or anything, just the details. I had moved into a particular city and met this guy at a dance class. And, a few conversations later, like maybe over a couple of weeks, he invited me to a crawfish boil party at a good friend of his house, a guy he had known for years. And he was telling me all of his friends would be there. And he was basically trying to help me, form a social circle, even though he was interested in me. Now, I don't eat crawfish, wasn't really, looking forward to that aspect of it. But I said, you know what? It's a nice outing to get out and possibly meet people. So we get to this event, but before we arrived there, I was kind of one to always have a little piece of something sweet in my hand. So I asked the guy that was taking me this, he stopped at the store to pick up beer, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go and get a piece of candy. So I buy a bag of Skittles. So as we're getting out of the car, heading around to the back part of his friend's house, I hear all this music and, you smell all the food and stuff cooking, and I get back there and it's just already a large gathering. As soon as we walk back, the guy that I'm with begins to introduce me to his friends and to the gentleman whose house it was and it was hosting the party. And before I could even say, I am, and give my name, he reaches out, grabs my bag of Skittles out of my hand, throws it over his back fence and says, "Get that bullshit out of here while I'm cooking all this food and you come here with some Skittles." Now, I was totally caught off guard, was shocked to say the least, kind of looked over at the guy who brought me, as if I was expecting him to say something because, of course, this is your friend. I don't know him. And when he really didn't say anything, kind of laughed it off like, "Man, you crazy." Now I'm kind of taken aback, like, okay, I don't really know this guy I'm with. Definitely don't know anybody else here. So I began to sit back and observe my surroundings. Now, I didn't say anything to the guy, didn't make a scene over it. So now I said, pay attention to what's going on. So as more people are gathering, I start noticing he started picking out different random women, what I thought was random, just, maybe talking about their hair or talking about something they had on, or, he, say inappropriate things to them. And then I was watching the different responses. So some women chose to do what I did, which was kind of like ignore him or say nothing. And then you would have those who engaged him back, cursing him out, making a big scene. So the longer this went on, that I'm kind of like, watching this all out, later in the evening, now that the sun has gone down and people are finished eating and it's turning into a real party and there's drinking and the margarita machine mix is going, I got up at one point to go into the garage to get a drink from the margarita machine. As soon as he saw me making my way, next thing I know, this guy had pushed up on me and immediately began to feel me up. Now, again, I'm all in my feelings. I'm nervous. I get my drink and kind of say to myself, you sit for the rest of the night. You don't go into his home. He was married. His wife had just had a child. The baby was less than like 3 months old, sort of thing. And I just said, you know what? You stay seated until you and your friend are ready to get out of here and leave. But what had I demonstrated to this guy? He was hunting. He was a predator. And in all the attempts that he was making at all the women there, he was seeing who would make a scene. And here I was putting my friend's feeling above my own, putting this man's wife and her newborn child's feelings above my own, to be nice, be kind. You don't really know him, just kind of like get through it, not make a scene. I had showed him I would not make a scene. Guys, the first thing a narc will do is to see who they're dealing with, is to test your boundaries, to see if you have any, to see how quick you are to protect yourself, defend yourself, or if you will even speak up. Generally, they do this in front of a group to kind of gauge a response, like what this guy did. But in private, they'll generally come on very loving, very helpful, accommodating. They'll want to get real close, real fast, not taking time to build a strong foundation. They'll often want to become intimate very fast, to distort your view of what's really happening so you don't really see who they are. And before you know it, you're sucked in, and then they can start the process of destroying your life. When we make it a practice, a habit of always looking outside of ourselves for help or validation, we set ourselves up to become targets. Most narcs have a religious belief system, and in many instances, if you were raised by a narcissist, they led you to the beliefs you hold, which is why they know all too well how to manipulate what and who you believe in. Have faith in yourself. This is a spiritual battle which many of us will lose time and time again if we truly don't get to know who we are. We've been taught to look outside ourselves and not how to tap into the power within. We've been taught to put faith in everything and everyone, ourselves last. How about learning to trust yourself? That was the number one way the narc was able to get their hooks into you. And why is that? Look at our public school systems. And if you were raised up in religious institutions, the common theme was indoctrinating you to not question anything, to just have this blind faith in what you're being told and taught. So as a result, your own inner voice gets fainter and fainter, and the less you respond to it, you can silence it. Our inner voice is here to help guide us through this life, and we have to learn how to read and interpret the signals and warning signs, which actually strengthens our inner knowing. Get in touch with your feelings, and then stop sharing them so much. You don't have to explain to anyone why you're feeling off about someone or something. You don't even have to truly understand it in the moment yourself, but learn to trust it. And when you learn to trust it, And when you follow it and it proves right, that's how you honor your inner voice and protect yourself. And the more you use it, the more you trust it, the stronger your knowing becomes. Learn to honor and trust your gut. Guys, the narc is a coward, an illusionist who has convinced you that they possess total confidence in self. And what they really lack most is confidence and the ability to face or tell the truth. Stand in your light and power. Speak truth. Shame that devil and get its hooks out of you. If you'd like to purchase my book or you would like to book a one-on-one coaching session, please check out my website. I'll post the links below. You're not on this journey alone, guys. There is support on your road to self-healing. Let's overcome. Until the next video, guys, may we all be well.